An American major general is dead and a German brigadier general wounded after a bloody insider attack in Afghanistan. It happened when a man in an Afghan army uniform opened fire on foreign troops at a military base. CCTV's Sean Callebs joins me for more. Sean, you've been to Afghanistan. How can this happen, and what does it really say about the status of the security in this country?
Yeah, it's sad, it's tragic. Your heart goes out to the family of the Major General Harold Green, the first U.S. general who's been killed in a combat zone since Vietnam, and to 15 other troops who were wounded in that shooting. They call it green on blue violence. Basically, insurgents can work their way into the Afghan army, and then they turn their weapons on the U.S., other NATO troops that are there to assist them. Sadly, it happens a lot. We were there back in April doing a story on the election. We spent a lot of time at what's known as KMTC, the Kabul Military Training Center. While we were there, they showed us the lengths that the Afghan troops go through to make sure something like this doesn't happen. They didn't let the Afghan trainees put bullets in their gun until they went to a shooting range. Once they went to that range, everybody around them had to wear body armor. And also, there were no U.S. trainers, no U.S. soldiers on that base assisting in training at that time. Basically, this green on blue violence really got bad in 2012. More than 61 troops were killed, and at that time, it was an embarrassment to both sides, and they began to distance themselves. Basically, the U.S. troops were not going out on patrols anymore, so they were doing everything they could to keep U.S. soldiers from being in harm's way.
So, you know, the fact that this guy was wearing an Afghan military uniform, this is not the first time we've seen someone in uniform going on a shooting spree.
Exactly, and it is a major concern, something that the Afghan authorities, as well as the NATO troops in the U.S., have been working on for a long time. And we heard the head of the Afghan army come out very strongly today and call this individual a terrorist. Usually the Taliban takes credit for something like this. So far, they have not taken credit. But Brigadier General Harold Green had only been there a short time. He was a deputy commander in the area, also wounded an Afghan general and a German general, as well as a number of other U.S. troops, and they had to be helicoptered out to receive treatment. So far, the information we're getting, those injuries are not life-threatening.
And do you think this will change anything as far as the planned withdrawal of all U.S. troops from Afghanistan by the end of this year?
Well, I think it really heightens how tense the situation is. Remember, they're undergoing a presidential election that is simply a mess right now. The two candidates have not agreed to how this vote counting should go on. The current president, Hamid Karzai, has indicated that he's not going to sign any kind of agreement that would allow the United States to stay in the country after 2014. Basically, everybody believes that the U.S. has to be there in some capacity if that country is going to have some kind of chance to make it. So if something like this continues to go on, it just makes it more and more difficult. It's a very fragile, very brittle process, and this certainly was a major setback.
All right. Thank you so much, Sean Callebs.